Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Barbara Scofidio, and I'm the editor of Prevue magazine, and I will be your moderator. We are today featuring Brett Putnam, Operations Manager in North America for the Visit Flanders Convention Bureau. We're happy to have him here. Welcome, Brett.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Barbara.
Before we begin, a few housekeeping items. During the presentation, feel free to enter your questions in our question box. We will gather them together and hold a Q&A at the end of our presentation. And don't worry if you missed something, this webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link via email to access the recording at your leisure. Very excited about today's prize for those who do stay on for the entire webinar. We encourage you to do so, and a lucky winner will be selected for an upcoming study tour to Flanders, either in late 2018 or at some point in 2019, including airfare, transfers, accommodations, conference access program, and most meals included. The winner will be contacted right after the webinar concludes. Finally, as an attendee today, as with all Prevue webinars, you are eligible for 1 credit hour toward your CMP from the Events Industry Council. So sit back, get comfortable. The webinar is beginning, and Brett, take it away.
Thank you, Barbara, and good afternoon, everyone, or good morning to those on the West Coast. Thank you for joining the webinar. My name is Brecht. I appreciate the introduction. I work for the Visit Flanders Convention Bureau. I'm based in New York City, so I'm basically your point of contact for all your meeting needs to Flanders, Belgium. Now, let's talk a little bit about Flanders. Flanders is basically the northern Dutch-speaking region in Belgium. Here you see it on the map in yellow. The main airport is Brussels Airport, and we have daily direct flights from many cities, especially in the northeast of the United States, but also from Chicago, Atlanta. There's also a flight from Miami, so it's quite easy to get to. And once you're in Europe or once you're in Brussels, it's also easy to get around, especially to the capitals that are close to us. You see the big countries over there, UK, France, Germany. So we are really right in the middle of it all. Now, if we take a closer look at the map, you see Brussels in the middle. Brussels is the capital of Belgium, the capital of Flanders, but also the capital of Europe. All the main institutions are based in Brussels, and you see the distances within the destination are quite small. You see Antwerp, Bruges, Ghent, Leuven. These are some of our main conference towns, and they are all less than 1 hour away from Brussels. So very easy to get around. And you see also the high-speed train connections to Amsterdam, London, Paris. They are all less than 2 hours away. So it's very easy to combine, do pre-tours, post-tours, whatever you name it. So that's a great advantage there. This is a little bit about the location, then language-wise. So you see the yellow part is Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, and then the southern part of Belgium is French-speaking. English is widely spoken in Brussels, seen its international character with all the European institutions and also the NATO headquarters, and not to forget the largest number of association headquarters after Washington, D.C. So that's a little bit about the location, but then what are we really known for? Well, basically we're known for the craft. Cutting edge craftsmanship is one of our storylines. And of course we have to refer to the chocolatiers and the breweries. But it's more than just that. It's more than chocolate, beer, and waffles. Flanders is home to top gastronomy. In the whole of Belgium, there are about 125 Michelin star restaurants, and then in the northern region, about 97. So you eat very, very well in Belgium. And then, of course, we are all about cultural heritage, and that shows in many forms. It shows in the artists, the Flemish masters that we have, but also in other disciplines, such as, let's think of DJs. Tomorrowland is one of the biggest festivals in Belgium every year, drawing visitors from all over the world. And then sports-wise, Flanders national sport for the USA, it's football and baseball, and truly the Belgium national sport is cycling. So it's very easy to get around to by bike. Belgium is quite flat, so it's a great sport to indulge in once you are in Flanders. Now, what are the main takeaways in terms of our destination? I would say Flanders is in the heart of Europe, with great access via air, train, and car. Flanders and Brussels are home to more than 2,000 associations, as I said in the previous slide. Flanders is ranked third in the top 15 of international conference countries. And the top 5 universities are in Flanders, and we have a number of research and development centers. We have about 20 strong economic clusters, which I'll tell you more a little bit in a minute. And then our cultural assets are gastronomy, arts, culture, and heritage. Now, I was talking a bit about the key clusters in Flanders, economic hubs that are really important for our destination. So the focus for Flanders in the coming years will be associations and attracting associations conferences. And for that reason, we have a number of professional experts in our head office that do nothing else but the research for your associations or organizations and help to find links between our organizations to make sure we can both be successful in achieving our goals. Listed here, for instance, you see that in the cities such as Ghent, Antwerp, port logistics are quite important, the diamond trade. I think of pharma and life science in Ghent and Bruges. I think of innovative and creative technologies in Antwerp and Limburg, ICT and nanotechnology in Leuven. And then, of course, the traditional strong industries like chemistry, dredging, diamonds. For anything you have, you name it, we have a connection there, and we are very excited to take it to the next level and really help you convince your boards and directors to have the conference take place in Flanders. Now, apart from that, we also have, as I said, a number of research and development centers and 5 top universities that are integrated in and around our cities. And here on this slide, you can see which universities and organizations they are. We are just extremely proud that we can welcome delegates into our cultural heritage for meetings and conferences, because our cities truly have a historic value. But as you can see, we also think about the future, and there is a lot happening in terms of development and research and innovation. So we are very happy to make that combination for you. Anyway, this is a bit the theory. Let's just dive into our cities a little bit. And we will start with Antwerp. Antwerp is Belgium's second largest city after Brussels. It's less than 40 minutes from Brussels Airport. There has been established a direct railway connection between Brussels Airport and Antwerp Central Station, so quite easy to get into the city center. It is also the second largest conference city after Brussels, so Antwerp is really stepping to the plate in being able to host your international delegates. On this slide, you can see some architectural marvels, I should say, that are home to Antwerp. On the top right, you can see the Port House, which was designed by architect Zaha Hadid, and it really symbolizes a gateway to the port area of Antwerp, which was historically one of the largest ports in Europe. And then on the left-hand side, you have the brick building, which is now home to the Museum of Antwerp. And then in the bottom corner, you have the Red Star Line Museum, which tells the story of millions of immigrants who passed through the port of Antwerp on their way to a new life in the Americas. Truly something to discover. And then, of course, Antwerp is the world diamond capital. 80% of the world's rough diamonds are traded or passed through the city of Antwerp, which is quite impressive. For exclusive groups, you can go behind the scenes, see how the diamonds are cut, learn about the 4 C's, or you can have a diamond cocktail in one of our iconic buildings where some of your delegates can win real Antwerp diamond. And then we have the Diva Museum opening up. Yes, the Diva is the Antwerp Diamond Museum, where you can learn all about the history of diamonds in Antwerp. But then you think, where do we meet? Well, we have the Flanders Meeting and Conference Center that just opened 2 years ago now. And it's right next to the central train station, and it's adjacent to the Zoo of Antwerp. That's why we call it a room with a zoo. The Antwerp Zoo is one of the most historic parks in Europe, historic animal parks in Europe. And they work closely together for preservation, research. It all goes hand in hand. And when you have your meeting in Antwerp, in the Flanders Meeting and Convention Center, you can have your breakouts in the parks of the zoo. You can have morning runs, evening receptions. Truly a unique experience. And then the building itself is really stunning. It combines, again, old and new, and of course, the latest technologies. Now, let's move to Bruges. Bruges is potentially one of the most famous cities in Flanders. It's close to the Belgian coast, and it's truly one of our region's greatest assets. The whole city center is listed as UNESCO World Heritage. And it has home to numerous beautiful monasteries and buildings. There's a beguinage, think of picturesque cobblestone streets, and of course, the many, many canals. The tower you see in the picture is the Belfry Tower, from where you can enjoy spectacular views over the whole city and adjacent region. It's only 366 stairs, so if you want to get in a good workout doing your conference, please, by all means, be our guest. Now, where do we meet in Bruges? There is a number of really special venues. Pictured here is the Provincial Court, where the provinces used to have their headquarters, which is now moved to outside of the city center. But today you can have your general assemblies there, meetings, anything you think of. You can truly meet in a historical setting. Just footsteps from the marketplace. We have other venues in Bruges as well, and also more modern venues. Here is an example of the Robotic Urology Section Conference that took place in Bruges in September 2017. It took place in the concert hall, which is a brand new building. It seats up to 1,000 people. 800 participants here. You see them enjoying a robotic operation live on stage, and they are following it with 3D glasses. So quite exciting. We can do most of the things that your meetings may need or require. So the local convention bureau for Bruges is also a very helpful tool to use when you organize meetings in the city. Now, let's move on to Ghent. Ghent is truly a undiscovered gem. It sits right in between Bruges and Brussels. So the distance between Bruges and Brussels is about 1 hour, and Ghent sits in the middle of it. So about 30 minutes outside of our capital. People say it's an undiscovered gem, small enough to be cozy, but large enough to stay vibrant. The historic city, you can compare it to Bruges. It has beautiful canals, cobblestone streets, bars, restaurants. But what what Ghent is most famous for is the fact that it's also a university town. So you get this really vibrant energy walking around in the city. There's about 70,000 students. And this makes Ghent University the largest university in Belgium. It contributes to the dynamic character of the city. It's a real melting pot where talent and creativity fuse with industry and technology. So a great breeding ground for a successful conference for you guys. Now, what else is interesting in Ghent? I would say the food scene is amazing. We discussed earlier that gastronomy in Flanders overall is quite important, with close to 100 Michelin star restaurants. But Ghent especially invests a lot in innovative culinary talent, and it is also listed as Europe's vegetarian veggie capital. In terms of historic venues, there are a lot to discover. On the right-hand side, you can see the Castle of the Counts. It's a castle dating back to the 9th century or 10th century. And today you can still meet or have a dinner or have a special event in one of the towers, have a medieval dinner, for instance, overlooking the city. It's truly a unique experience. And then again, as we said before, Ghent has a very vibrant nightlife. As you can see on the bottom left corner, lots of venues can be privatized for events. Spend the night in Ghent. The experience will definitely be worth your while. And also Ghent has a great local convention bureau that can help you with all of your needs in terms of hotels, RFPs, destination sourcing, etc. And then there's a new convention center, or well, I should say the convention center that is currently there is being refurbished. And after the refurbishment, about 2,000 Congress delegates will be able to have a meeting spot where they can all convene. Very excited about that prospect. So you see, there's a lot happening in many of our cities. Another city that I want to highlight that is maybe a little less known is Leuven. Leuven is only 15 minutes away from Brussels Airport. So it sits actually right outside of Brussels. And Leuven University City, as we call it, is one of our other university towns, like Ghent. It has a large number of universities. Let's see, and here we have, for instance, the library, the university library of the Catholic University of Leuven, which is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the city. So the city is beloved actually by generations of students, and historic college buildings really dominate its cozy squares and streets. The largest bar in the world, some people say, is in Leuven, around one of the market squares, where one house next to the others is actually a bar. So thanks to the University of Leuven, it has grown into a big beacon of knowledge, from where high-tech companies conquer the world. Besides that, it's also a premier hub for healthcare and creativity. And of course, it is also a hub for beer. One could say that Leuven is the beer capital of the world after Stella Artois merged with the houses of AB InBev. So definitely visit Leuven and make a visit to the Stella Brewery. We can do privatized tours over there. So definitely makes for a fun themed activity. And also here I have to mention Leuven also has a local convention bureau that's quite active and happy to help you with any needs that you may have in terms of sourcing special venues, hotels, and here we have pictured the convention center, the faculty club, which is actually in an old beguinage, also listed as UNESCO World Heritage. So again, a very unique meeting venue in the heart of the city. And last but not least, of course, we have Brussels. Brussels is the capital of Belgium, the capital of Europe, and home to NATO. So about 500 million Europeans are represented on a daily basis in the city. This means that there's, on a daily basis, lots of journalists, lobbyists, people working for governments, embassies, consulates. So after Washington, D.C., Brussels has the most diplomats in the city. And as I mentioned before, it also is home to the largest number of association headquarters, and the ranking for the UIA, Union of International Associations, Brussels ranks second for hosting association meetings. So it's quite an impressive city with a large number of hotel rooms, about 20,000 in the city center. So Brussels definitely poses some advantages for having meetings there. And here are the numbers listed, as I mentioned before. Apart from that, it is also known for numerous chocolate stores and breweries and waffles. And it's just fun to walk through the historic city center on the cobblestone streets and just enjoy the sights and the sounds. And then, of course, to to kind of wrap it up in terms of our venues, we just want you to know that our strong suit is really the fact that our conference centers, hotels, venues are all, many of them in a special historic location. Oftentimes we can find a link with your organization to make your meeting experience, well, truly special. And then I want to talk a little bit about IMEX America. I know that many of you guys on the call logging in today are also going to be attending IMEX America in Vegas in just a few weeks from now. And I just quickly want to introduce our 5 partners on the booth. Our first one here is Brussels Airlines. Brussels Airlines is the national carrier for our destination, with the flights from New York, Toronto, Washington, D.C. So with over 100 European destinations, 24 African destinations, Tel Aviv and Mumbai, they will keep you flying anywhere you want. Come visit us at the booth to learn more about their business class program and their whole all-around first class. And also, Brussels Airlines will be sponsoring a trip to Belgium at IMEX America. And the raffle will happen at the booth. This is apart from the prize that's being raffled connected to this webinar. So you guys are all in for a treat. And then Brussels Airlines became TSA PreCheck approved this year. So it's really never been easier to hop on board and experience its award-winning wines and service to over 120 destinations. And Brussels Airlines is also introducing its Belgium stopover, which allows for a visit to Belgium in 1 to 5 days, including free access to several museums and sites in 2 Belgian cities of choice. So that's Brussels Airlines. Make sure to pay us a visit or make an appointment with them during IMEX America. Our second partner is Mariette Brussels. They actually cluster a number of hotels in Brussels. This here is Jessica. She will be with me at the booth. And again, we'd be very excited to see you and have you learn more about the beautiful Marriott hotels in the capital of Belgium. And then we have the Hilton Hotel with hotels in Antwerp and Brussels. So 2 of our main conference cities represented also with us at the booth. And here you can see the capacities. You can see the Hilton Antwerp, for instance, is in a former Grand Bazaar, I should say an old shopping center of the turn of the century, 1900. So truly a historical building with large bedrooms and also a number of meeting rooms that are really off the charts. And then we have Hotel Amigo, which is a Roccaforte collection hotel. It's located in the heart of Brussels, right next to the Grand Place. And it's really an icon of Belgian luxury. It's a 5-star plus hotel with a number of, it has about 19 suites and about 173 bedrooms. And then last but not least, our partner Fame, a destination management company. Elke is pictured here. She will be with me as well. And she'll be very happy to give you more ideas about Flanders, what you can do, what you can experience, which hotels to stay at, you name it. And so here is my picture. This is me visiting Brussels a few years ago. I think I should update the picture, to be honest. Our booth number is A3021. If there's one thing you want to remember of this webinar, it's our booth number, so you can make a appointment with us, because every attendee in this webinar gets free chocolates at the booth. And then apart from that, as I mentioned, there is a grand prize. You can win a trip to Flanders with Brussels Airlines and hotel rooms offered by the luxurious Hotel Amigo, which we just introduced. So you would be staying just footsteps away from the Grand Place, where I am pictured over there. So that's mainly it for now. I'm looking forward to seeing most of you at IMEX in Las Vegas. And if you have any questions, you can always email me, call me, tweet me, or just enter a question to Barbara if you want to ask me something right away. I'm here to help.
Thank you, Brett. I have two things to add to what you said. Number one is that I did come to your booth last IMEX, and the chocolates were incredible. So I encourage everyone to do that. And I mispronounced your name. It's Putman, not Putman.
It is. I know. It happens all the time. It's totally fine.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have lots of questions coming in, actually. Some of them are very specific. So I'll just start, I'll start you off. Basically, someone wanted to know about public transportation options, which would be used by association attendees.
Yes. Well, public transportation, I would say railroads. Within Belgium, the national organization for railroads is actually quite good when it comes to groups and really organized. Lots of people take the train every day in Belgium. It is truly a part of the lifestyle, I should say. And all of the cities within Flanders are very well connected with trains and schedules, and you can organize for your groups up front. So any specific information or requests you have regarding that, feel free to contact me and I can put you in touch with the right people or just help you through the process.
Here's another logistical transportation question. Diana asked about car services. Are additional car services available in your cities?
Yeah, absolutely. So something I didn't mention in the presentation is that many of our, well, actually most of our historic cities, Antwerp, Bruges, Ghent, Leuven, Brussels, the city centers are pedestrian-free, car-free zones, so pedestrians only, except for, I should say, taxis, public transportation, and also car service or limousine and bus service. So we do have those organizations, and we definitely can also there connect you with the right people and providers.
Great. Susan, hello, Susan. She asked what the ideal size group is for meeting in Flanders.
It really depends on from city to city. Comfortably throughout Flanders, we are happy to host people up to 1,000, I should say, especially for Brussels, 1,000 plus is possible. But then I think of Antwerp, Ghent, Bruges, the sweet spot is really between 0 and 500-600, I would say. But again, we've done more, and as long as you are open to combining different hotels, it should not be a problem. But then that also adds to the character of the conference. You can run into your conference colleagues in the streets in the morning with your coffee. Conferences sometimes really take over our cities, which we are happy about, and the local convention bureaus are also happy to assist in that, even with signage throughout the city. The city's welcome to that conference. And adding to this, and thank you for the question, Susan, but when you have a smaller conference in many of our cities, they will be open to hosting a free welcome reception in their town hall, which is part of our convention subvention program. But again, I can get more specific into detail once we have those specific requests.
This is actually a question of mine regarding seasonality. What would be, question number one, the ideal time for a group to visit? And then the other would be where is the best negotiating opportunity at what time of year for a group?
Yeah. Well, in terms of climate, I should say weather, visiting year-round is recommended because the summer is not crazy hot. The winter is not crazy cold. So we enjoy a mild climate. The only thing you may have to keep into account is the fact that it could rain or be cloudy. You can very much compare the Belgian weather to the weather they get up in the United Kingdom. So it's really a toss-up in terms of rain or sunshine. Or you can really get both in a day twice. So it's very unpredictable in that sense, but guaranteed mild climate and a little chance of getting stuck by a snowstorm or anything like that. Now, in terms of seasonality, business-wise, again, I should say year-round is possible. Brussels gets very busy in May. I would say for the capital, we always recommend visiting in in July or August, because that's when the European representatives go into recess and the city is a little calmer business-wise. But then again, it ticks up tourism-wise. So it's really year-round. There is room for negotiation. Also in our other cities, such as Antwerp, Ghent, Bruges, it really depends what is already taking place in those cities. Yeah. So the main recommendation I have for organizations is to start sourcing as soon as possible.
Okay. I have a question from Deirdre. Hello, Deirdre. And of course, this is important to many planners. Can you tell us about green initiatives in various destinations?
Yes, sustainability has always been one of the priorities of the Convention Bureau. There is the Green Key initiative that was actually launched by Visit Flanders, where we appoint hotels with meeting facilities in a sustainable way. So hotels and venues and conference centers that make efforts to make meetings greener in whichever way that is, they get rewarded with the Green Key designation. And this is really just to show people like the person who asked the question, to really show them that yes, we are making efforts in terms of that. And then again, generally speaking, we always recommend people visiting our cities to use the public transportation, the train system that's in place. And then naturally, our cities are not as large as the ones here in the United States. So naturally, we also recommend people to just walk from venue to venue, from restaurant to hotel, or take a boat or a horse carriage, do it in style, but in a responsible way for the environment.
Okay. What about, and again, this is an important topic for planners, they're having more and more vegans and vegetarians, and food allergies is certainly becoming an issue. Are accommodations made just like they would be in the States?
Yes, we are truly up with the trend there. And we have also, because we have realized it and noticed it in previous meetings, even the fam trips that I organize. And I can tell out of my own experience that most of our hotels that want to attract those international business and visitors are definitely up to par when it comes to accommodating those requests.
Great, great. As I mentioned, and Brett has mentioned, there will be a trip awarded. You will hear one lucky person who has stayed on, and we've been watching, will be contacted after the webinar. So
Yes.
I think we've gotten a couple requests for the PowerPoint, and we will get that to you. And as I mentioned earlier, this webinar will be available on the Prevue website if you want to share it with someone else or hear it again. And Brett will be at IMEX for everyone to meet, as will I. So I want to thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon. I think it's been really informative. You painted a great picture of Flanders for all to see. And I wish everyone else a great rest of the afternoon.
I wish the same. Don't forget to pick up your chocolates at our Flanders booth. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Have a good afternoon.